Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. My name is Crown, and today I'm going to read you some very interesting stories that I hope that you're gonna love. And now, without further ado, let's go! When I decided it was time to buy a new car, I've been saving up for a month, and I was excited to finally get something reliable. I went to this dealership downtown thinking they'd have a good selection. As soon as I walked in, the salesman approached me with a big smile. "Welcome! Looking for anything specific today?" "Just browsing for now. I'm in the market for a new car, but I'm not sure what I want yet." "Well, you've come to the right place. Let me show you some of our best models." He led me around the lot, pointing out different cars and rattling off their features. I have to admit, he was good at his job. Before I knew it, I was sitting in a sleek sedan, ready for a test drive. The car drove well, but something didn't feel quite right. Maybe it was the price, or maybe it was too flashy for my taste. Either way, I knew it wasn't the one for me. "Thanks for the test drive, but I don't think this is the car for me." "Are you sure? We could work out a great deal for you." "I appreciate it, but I think I need more time to consider my options." The salesman looked disappointed, but he handed me his card and told me to call if I changed my mind. I left the dealership thinking that was the end of it. A few days later, I found another dealership with a car I really liked. It was perfect, right size, right price, everything I wanted. I bought it on a spot and drove home happy. That's when things started to get weird. I got a notice from the Florida Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles telling me I needed to insure a car. At first, I thought it was for my new car, but the vehicle identification number was different. That's strange. Maybe it's just a typo. I didn't think much of it. I just forwarded my insurance information for my actual car to the department. Problem solved, right? Wrong. A month went by and suddenly my license was suspended. I couldn't believe it. I hadn't done anything wrong. I rushed to the Department of Motor Vehicles, hoping to sort out this mess. When I got there, the clerk handed me some papers. My jaw dropped when I saw what was on them. "Excuse me, there must be some mistake. This says I bought a car from that first dealership I visited, but I didn't." The clerk tells me, "I'm sorry sir, but according to our records, the title for this vehicle is in your name." "But that's impossible. I never agreed to buy that car. I didn't even fill out any paperwork. Did you provide them with any personal information?" And that's when it hit me. I had emailed them a copy of my driver's license when I was considering the test drive. Could they have used that to put the car in my name? I sent them my driver's license, but that was just for the test drive. I never agreed to buy anything. "Well, I'm afraid I can't help you with that. You'll need to contact the dealership to sort this out." I left the Department of Motor Vehicles feeling defeated and angry. How could this have happened? Why would they do this? I couldn't shake the feeling that something seriously shady was going on. When I got home, I started doing some research. I found out that some dealerships will do anything to hit their sales quotas, even if it means breaking the law. Could that be what happened here? I wanted to call a dealership and demand answers, but a little voice in my head told me to be careful. If they had really done something illegal, tipping them off might make things worse. Instead, I decided to check my credit report. If they had somehow put a car in my name, who knows what else they might have done. I went to the annual credit report website and requested my reports from all three credit bureaus. And to my relief, there weren't any new auto loans on my credit report. At least, they hadn't gone that far. But that still left me with a car I didn't own registered in my name and a suspended license. I spent the next few days trying to figure out what to do. I looked at the Department of Motor Vehicles website, hoping to find some way to report what had happened. But there wasn't anything that seemed to fit my situation. It was like they had never considered that someone might have a car registered to them without their knowledge. I couldn't stop thinking about it. Every time my phone rang, I jumped, worried it might be the dealership or someone asking about a car I didn't own. I started having trouble sleeping, tossing and turning as I tried to figure out what to do. Finally, I decided I needed professional help. I couldn't handle this on my own. I started looking for lawyers who specialized in auto fraud cases, and that's when I found a law firm that seemed perfect. I called them up and explained my situation to the receptionist. She sounded concerned and scheduled me for a consultation the next day. When I arrived at the law office, I was nervous. I'd never needed a lawyer before and I wasn't sure what to expect. The attorney I met with listened carefully as I explained everything that had happened. He says, "Well, this is a serious situation. It sounds like the dealership may have committed fraud." "Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. What should I do?" "First, we need to gather more information. I'd recommend filing a complaint with the Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles. They have the resources to investigate what's really going on here." "Will that be enough? I mean, my license is suspended, and there is a car in my name that I don't own." "It's a start. Once we have more details from their investigation, we'll have a better idea of how to proceed. In the meantime, I'd suggest checking your credit reports again, just to be sure no new accounts have been opened." "I already did that, actually. There weren't any new auto loans." "That's good news. It means the damage might be limited to the vehicle registration, but we'll need to act quickly to get this sorted out." The attorney explained that situations like mine, while rare, weren't unheard of. He told me about a case he had worked on involving a trust that suddenly had multiple vehicles registered to it without the trustee's knowledge. The attorney says, "Sometimes the truth is stranger than fiction." In that case, we eventually discovered there were drug trafficking implications. I'm not saying that's what's happening here, but it goes to show how complex these situations can be. Drug trafficking? I hadn't even considered something like that. Do you think that could be happening here? It's impossible to say at this point. That's why we need the Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles to investigate. They can access information we can't. I left the attorney's office feeling a mix of emotions. I was relieved to have a plan of action, but I was also worried about what the investigation might uncover. What if this went deeper than just one shady dealership trying to hit their quota? Over the next few weeks, I worked closely with the attorney to file a complaint and provide all the necessary information to the Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles. It was a slow process and at times it felt like nothing was happening, but the attorney assured me that these investigations take time. While we waited for the investigation to progress, the attorney helped me file for a hardship license so I could at least drive to work. It wasn't ideal, but it was better than nothing. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, we got some answers. The Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles had completed their initial investigation, and the results were shocking. It turned out that the dealership had been involved in a complex scheme involving multiple fraudulent vehicle registrations. They weren't just trying to hit a quota, they were part of a larger criminal enterprise. The salesman who had shown me the car had been arrested, along with several other employees at the dealership. The owner was under investigation and it looked like the business would be shut down. As for me, the Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles worked quickly to clear my record and reinstate my license. The fraudulent vehicle registration was removed from my name and I was cleared of any wrongdoing. The attorney advised me that I might have grounds for a civil law against the dealership for the stress and inconvenience their actions had caused me. He also warned me that I might be called as a witness if criminal charges were filed. Anyways, I am more cautious now about sharing personal information, even with businesses that seem legitimate. I also learned the importance of acting quickly when something seemed off, and not being afraid to seek professional help. Most of all, I learned that sometimes the most unbelievable stories are true. If someone had told me 6 months ago that I'd be caught in a car dealership's criminal scheme, I would have laughed. Now, I know better. The world can be a strange and unpredictable place, and sometimes you just have to hold on tight and do your best to navigate through the chaos. My name is not important, but what happened to me is something I'll never forget. It all started when I moved into this fancy neighborhood about a year ago. I'm a software engineer and I've been working my butt off for years to save up for a nice house. When I finally had enough, I decided to treat myself to a place in one of those gated communities. You know, the kind with manicured lawns and perfect picket fences. I thought it would be safe and peaceful. But oh hell no. The first few weeks were great, my neighbors seemed friendly enough and I was enjoying my new home. But then I met him, the Homeowners Association president. Let's call him Kevin. From the moment I saw him, I knew he was trouble. "Welcome to the neighborhood. I'm the HOA president. I'll need a copy of your house key for emergencies. Excuse me? Why would you need my house key? It's standard procedure. All homeowners provide a key to the HOA for safety reasons. I'm sorry, but I am not comfortable with that. I value my privacy and security. Kevin, frowning. It's not optional. It's in the HOA agreement. I've read the agreement thoroughly, and there is nothing about providing house keys. I won't be giving you a key to my home. And that's when I saw his true colors. His face turned red, and he looked like he was about to explode. But he composed himself and walked away, muttering something under his breath. I thought that was the end of it, but I couldn't have been more wrong. Over the next few months, Kevin made my life hell. He'd find any excuse to find me for ridiculous things. My grass being half an inch too tall or my mailbox being slightly crooked. I tried to fight back, but he always found a way to make things worse. It wasn't just me either. I started talking to my neighbors and found out that Kevin had been terrorizing everyone for years. He'd enter people's homes without permission, claiming he was doing inspections. Some neighbors even said they'd noticed things missing after these inspections. I decided I needed to protect myself. Given my job as a software engineer, I work with sensitive information and I couldn't risk someone breaking into my home office. So I went through the proper channels and got a firearm for home protection. I took classes, learned how to use it safely, and hoped I'd never have to. Things came to a head about 6 months after I moved in. Kevin cornered me outside my house one day. "This is your last warning. Give me a key to your house or there will be consequences." For the last time, no. You have no right to demand a key to my home. Leave me alone or I'll report you for harassment. Kevin, sneering, "You'll regret this. Nobody says no to me in my community." I brushed off his threat and went inside, but I was shaken. I started documenting everything, every interaction, every unreasonable fine, every threat, and I even installed security cameras around my property. A week later, I was working from home when I heard the loud banging on my front door. I checked my security feed and saw Kevin standing there red-faced and angry. I decided to ignore him, hoping he'd go away, but he didn't. Instead, the banging got louder and I heard him yelling, "I know you're in there. Open this door right now or I'll break it down." I was terrified. I called the police and told them what was happening. Then I grabbed my phone and my gun and locked myself in my bedroom. Me shouting, "Go away. I've called the police. They'll be here any minute. You think the police will help you? I own this neighborhood. Now open this door." I heard a loud crash and my heart nearly stopped. He was actually trying to break down my door. I was shaking so badly I could barely hold my phone. Me shouting, "Stop. I am armed and I will defend myself if you come in." At this point, he was already inside the house somehow, and now he's trying to break into my bedroom where I was barricading myself. But he didn't stop. I heard the wood splintering and I knew he was almost through. In that moment, all I could think about was protecting myself. I aimed at the door and fired. Everything after that is a blur. I remember the police sirens, the paramedics rushing in, and being taken to the station for questioning. It turned out that I had shot Kevin in the chest. He survived but fell into a coma. The next few weeks were a nightmare. Kevin's family was out for blood. They'd show up in my house screaming and threatening me. His wife was the worst, a real Karen type. "You monster! How could you do this to my husband? He was just doing his job. Your husband was breaking into my home. I was defending myself. Liar! He would never do that. You'll pay for this." I had to get a restraining order against him. It was the only way to get some peace. But they didn't stop there. They tried to turn the whole neighborhood against me, spreading lies and rumors. I was at my wit's end when my lawyer called with some good news. The police had finished their investigation and it was ruled as self-defense. Kevin had a history of complaints against him and my security footage proved he was trying to break in. My lawyer advised me to press charges against Kevin and his family for harassment, breaking and entering, and emotional distress. At first, I was hesitant. I just wanted this whole mess to be over. But then I thought about all the other neighbors who had suffered under his reign of terror. You know what? Let's do it. It's time someone stood up to them. The case is still ongoing, but things are looking up. Kevin woke up from his coma last week and is facing multiple charges. His family has finally backed off, realizing they could be in legal trouble too. As for me, I'm thinking about moving. This neighborhood has lost its charm to say the least. But I'm proud that I stood my ground and didn't let Kevin bully me into giving up my rights. It's been a wild ride and not one I'd wish on anyone, but if there is one thing I've learned is that you should never let anyone push you around, not even if they claim to have authority over you. Your home is your castle, and you have every right to protect it. My wife and I have been together for 4 years, married for two, with a 16-month-old son. I thought we had a great relationship, but damn, I was wrong. It all started yesterday when we were going through our old phones. I was charging up her old phone to transfer some photos when I noticed a contact I did not recognize. What I found made my blood run cold. My wife had hired a private investigator to spy on me. 2 years ago, right after our honeymoon. While I was busy taking care of her during her pregnancy, she was busy having me followed. I confronted her about it, trying to keep my cool. What's this about a private investigator? Oh, honey, I can explain. It was a moment of weakness. My best friend was in my ear and I was pregnant and I just couldn't think straight. So instead of talking to me, you hired someone to spy on me? I am so sorry. You did nothing wrong. It was all my insecurities. Okay. I couldn't bear to be in the same room as her anymore. I kissed our son and walked out the door. I drove around for hours trying to make sense of it all. When I came home 4 hours later, she had the audacity to ask where I'd been. Where did you go? Don't worry, I wasn't cheating with someone else. That night, I couldn't bring myself to hug or kiss her. The next morning was no different. I left for work without our usual goodbye kiss. Her apologies falling on deaf ears. As I sit here at work, I can't help but think about how entitled she must be to think that a simple "I'm sorry" would fix this. She violated my privacy, my trust, and our relationship. And for what? Because her friend got cheated on? I remember how proud I was when she got pregnant, how excited I was to start our family, and I took care of her throughout the pregnancy, showered her with love and affection, and all the while she was having me followed like some common criminal. She claims she couldn't think straight because of the pregnancy and her friend's influence, but that's just an excuse. Plenty of women get pregnant without immediately suspecting their husbands of infidelity. And let's not forget she kept this secret for 2 years. 2 whole years of lying to my face every single day. She says she didn't tell me because I didn't deserve to feel like I did something wrong. But isn't that exactly what she made me feel by hiring a private investigator in the first place? The entitlement of it all is staggering. She thought she had the right to invade my privacy without any evidence of wrongdoing. She thought she could keep this massive secret and our relationship will be fine. And now she thinks a few "I'm sorries" will make everything better. As the end of the workday approaches, I start to dread going home. I don't want to face her, to hear more of her excuses and apologies, but I know I can't avoid it forever. I have a son to think about after all. I pull into our driveway and sit in the car for a few minutes, gathering my thoughts. Finally, I take a deep breath and head inside. As soon as I open the door, she's there, eyes red from crying. Our son on her hip. Please, can we talk? She says. I don't know what there is to talk about. I know I messed up. I know I hurt you. But please, give me a chance to explain. Explain what? How you thought it was okay to spy on me? How you kept this a secret for 2 years? I was scared and insecure. I made a mistake. A mistake? A mistake is forgetting to buy milk. This is a conscious choice you made. I take our son from her arms, needing to hold him to remember why I'm even still here. After putting him to bed, I head back downstairs. She's sitting on a couch waiting for me. I know what I did was wrong. I was stupid and insecure, and I let my friend's problems cloud my judgment. But I swear, once I realized how wrong I was, I've done everything I can to be a good wife to you. And you think that makes it okay? That you can violate my trust and privacy and then just play happy families like nothing happened? No, I don't think it's okay. That's why I never told you. I knew how much it would hurt you. So you lied to me. For 2 years. I didn't want to hurt you. Well, congratulations. You've managed to hurt me even more by hiding it. We sit in silence for a while, the weight of her betrayal hanging heavy between us. I don't know if I can trust you anymore. How do I know you won't do something like this again the next time you feel insecure? I won't, I promise. I've learned my lesson. Have you? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like you only regret it because you got caught. She starts crying again, but I can't bring myself to comfort her. Her tears feel manipulative now, a way to make me feel guilty for being angry. I think I'm going to sleep in the guest room tonight. I need some space to think. Please don't. We can work this out. Maybe, but not tonight. As I lie in bed, staring at the ceiling, I wonder how we'll move forward from this. Can I ever truly trust her again? Or will I always be wondering what she's hiding? What she's capable of doing behind my back? One thing's for sure, our relationship will never be the same. The woman I thought I knew, the woman I loved and trusted completely, doesn't exist. In her place is someone who thought it was acceptable to hire a private investigator to spy on her husband, someone who could lie to my face every day for 2 years.
And now we have reached the end of today's stories. Thank you for watching and see you next time.